The Life Design Lab at Stanford University is a place that uses design thinking to solve wicked challenges out there in the world. Design thinking is an iterative process that has historically been used in product design. Designers use their framework to systematically address complex problems and find desirable solutions for their users. A typical design thinking process involves 5 key phases: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. We use this process to design better Black experiences at Stanford University.
Welcome to Designing Black Experiences, our independent study for fall 2023. So what we want to do this quarter is really begin to work on challenges that Black students are facing here at Stanford.
So the process starts with empathy before we go in and define or frame a problem. And the reason why we start with empathy is because you really want to understand a challenge or a problem before you decide what the challenge is that you're actually working on.
What are some of the challenges that you all are facing as Black students at an institution like Stanford?
For me, it's just trying to find community, representation in my classes.
Finding mentors and leaders that look like me.
Definitely black hair, trying to find barbers around campus.
After we ideated all of the challenges and problems that Black students were facing here at Stanford, we asked them to then vote. What is a challenge or a problem here at Stanford that you would actually be excited to work on?
Black hair care at a PWI is the issue that we're going to be working on during our independent study this quarter. Does that sound cool? Yeah. You all excited to work on that idea? Yeah. Can I get an oh yeah? Oh yeah! Our first step is to begin to empathize, to get out there on campus, have conversations with our peers to really begin to understand this challenge.
We chose Alan as the leader of this project because although TJ and I are the instructors for this class, we're just not as close to the design challenge as a student would be.
I just think availability of hair products, just because there's so little in the surrounding area or they're so expensive.
So you know there is a hair shop on campus, right?
Ooh. So if you're talking about that one old dude who be giving haircuts, I had a homie who went there, never again.
Do you know how to do like African curly type of hair?
That I don't, but we had 2 hairdressers here until the virus that's all they did. And I wish I had them back.
You couldn't go off campus. Mm-hmm. How would you do your hair?
I can't, and I wouldn't because I don't know how to braid. So I'm pretty much reliant on individuals that have experience with braiding hair.
How we used the define phase specifically in this independent study was from understanding students, from going out there on campus, we were really able to understand their unique needs and challenges.
So now that we've empathized with Black students here on campus on the challenge of getting our hair done and maintaining our hair, what are the key themes that we're able to see?
I think products was a big theme here. What do you use for your hair? What works for your hair? And then where do you get them from? We're kind of in a bubble in Stanford.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we saw was the aspect of community. So I think a lot of people are used to getting their hair cut at like a barbershop or going to the salon, but like here you don't really have that.
One major problem was definitely accessibility. I think that with the way the campus is structured and like with us having so many kids in the school that are not from California, it's hard for people to be able to access hair care when they can't find it on campus.
Once you identify the challenge or the problem, then you want to ideate. You want to come up with lots of ideas.
So now that we've identified our clear themes that we want to focus on, it's time for us to now ideate. So we should focus on solutions based on accessibility, product, and community.
When it comes to ideating, wild ideas are so important because wild ideas allows us to get outside of the box. It really allows us to expand our mind and break those traditional schemas and solution spaces that we normally play in.
Now that we've empathized, defined, and ideated, now I believe it's time for us to show our prototypes.
The next step is to converge, begin to narrow down and prototype some of your ideas, test them out. In life design, you prototype by having a conversation, or you can prototype by actually living out the experience. And prototyping is so important because it allows you to gain a lot of information, expose those assumptions to see if your prototype is actually gonna work.
We created a prototype based off of the need for access to products. So we're putting a shelf in the Black House so students have access to things that they need on a daily basis for their hair.
As you see, we got everything you need. Got some Shea Moisture curling styles here. Yeah. Maybe you need that.
The prototype my group and I worked on, well, we had the community aspect. So what we did was we tried to get people together. We tried to get an instructor, to come to a workshop, and we just wanted to teach them the different steps of how to take care of your hair.
My group was focused on the accessibility, and we built an app where you could look at the stylists and you could look through their styles that they do and what they offer, and you could see their booking availability and be able to hopefully find an appointment to bridge the gap in finding hair resources here on campus.
So the testing phase of the design thinking process is so important because it allows you to go back to your users and truly understand if the idea that you came up with actually solves your problem. So we came up with some really great prototypes. And now what we need to do is use these prototypes as inspiration and bring them all together to create one final event for students to come, check it out, be in community, and test.
I want to take y'all through how to maintain your hair at a PWI, different products, learning about your porosity, and then doing a live demo.
I thought that event was really amazing. It taught things that a lot of us needed to know, like taking care of our hair, which a lot of us haven't learned or just need help with.
I think our prototype went very, very well. We had many attendees, and many people say that it was very informative and they feel better about taking care of their hair here at Stanford.
Allyship is so important when it comes to solving these challenges because it is really important for other people who don't look like us to be in the room, to understand the challenge and the problem.
Being here and being able to support the students in their exploration feels like a deeply grateful moment for us to all learn from one another and think about how we can really create solutions with and for students.
We can show up, be participants in the process, radical collaborators, if you will, and that's an important part of design thinking, but also we can open doors.
I'm learning that there's so much you can do with the things that you already have and the resources that are on campus. We don't really have to create something completely new, don't have to reinvent the wheel, but there's so much resources and so many people here that are willing to help.
I learned a lot from these students as we are going through the Designing Black Experiences independent study. And the most amazing thing was they weren't necessarily solving the challenges for themselves, but they always wanted Black students who came after them to have a much better Stanford experience than the one that they were having.
The design thinking process was huge in finding these solutions just because it made me think outside the box.
What I've learned throughout this process is the ability to empathize, create action, and then try to make it sustainable.
So we're hoping that Designing Black Experiences creates ideas and solutions to help more Black students feel like they can be themselves and use design thinking as a framework to solve some of the challenges that they have and feel like they belong.